Hey everybody, I'm Brian.
Hello everybody, this is Joe G.
Hey, I'm Shannon.
Hi, I'm Ron.
Hey, this is Steve.
Oh, and we can't forget about Marcel.
Oh, hey.
Brian?
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Why and What We Model. This is Brian with the D&RGW Grand Western Iron Horse Route. Welcome to the show. See Bill in here, Marty, Sparky. I got Melvin Fackler. Welcome to the show, Melvin. Got Claude over at Cowboy Valley. Let's see, who else? Norman Rowe, Leslie, Gary. Good to see you, Gary. Dwight. Dave, BNSF in scale in the house. John over at Schuylkill River Valley. Good to see you, John. Let's see. Oh, there's Dale too. We got Dale in the house as well. Steve?
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? Welcome to another episode of Back on Track.
Yeah, good morning. Or actually, it's morning my side as well. So, good morning, everyone, as well. Excuse me, I do sound a bit croaky. I have been running a cold or flu or something. I don't know. All I know is I've been running on limited hours of sleep. I had to have a nap before, so. But yeah, I'm all getting better.
That's a good name.
Croaky. Don't.
Cracky.
Oh, we're gonna start with nicknames again. I don't want to do this.
No, it's croaky or cracky.
Anyway, so as Brian said, so today we're discussing, why is it we model what we model? Why is it we model the scale we do, the railroads we do, the era, there's a number of points that we can touch on in regards to this. So, did you want to start off, Brian or Steve, in regards to this, or should we just have a quick look in chat and see what some of the guys there?
Yeah, let's look in chat and see what they say, because I've got my notes that I wrote down.
Yeah, Brian?
Well, so what we want to do is we'd like for you to put in chat what specific information we're looking for, Shannon. Let's tell them
that. Actually, I think Steve would be probably better to answer that one.
All right, Steve, let's tell them what to put in chat about what they model.
Okay, well, I've got quite a bit. It goes back. It's also, the space you have to work with. That's going to determine what you model. The finances that you have. That's going to determine how much time you have to invest in the hobby. Is going to do that. And then what railroad you prefer. Was it a certain thing, in the area that you grew up in? Your knowledge of model railroading, whether you're getting in the hobby as somebody that doesn't know, or are you very experienced in it, your skill level, and scenery, wiring, and bench work. I mean, there's just a lot of reasons why you model what you model. So we could probably fill a couple episodes on that.
Exactly. Also, before we get too carried away as well, again, I'd like to thank Claude last week. I know we're having some software issues last week, so we were trying to run the show by the skin of the hairs on our chin, so to speak. So yeah, we wanted to thank Claude for that. What was his channel name again, Steve?
Cowboy Valley Timberline Junction Railroad. Did I say that right, Brian?
Yep. Bingo. All right, beautiful. All right. I'll make sure to add his link down in the description below a bit later after the show, so that way people can, because I know a lot of people asking, what his channel was, and they wanted to jump over and have a look at what he was posting up on his content. So I'll post that down in the description later on after the show.
Well, it was wonderful having you on, Claude. That was a pleasure. Absolutely. So.
And so Sparky's suggesting in chat, why do we model the road name that we do? Okay, so why do we model the road name that we do? He's asking the folks in chat to put that in there. So Steve, why don't you tell us why you model the road name that you do?
Well, it's kind of funny because where I grew up, it was the Southern Pacific and the Western Pacific that ran through Livermore, California, and that's what I did right up until I hired on with the Santa Fe in '77, and that was when I changed over, to the ATSF. That's what I've always tried to, but I've got some equipment that's not, because it's what I could get at the time. So, but that's why I model what I model, the road name anyway.
Shannon?
Okay, well, with me at the moment, I'm modeling obviously N scale. I model Union Pacific, Southern Pacific, and Rio Grande Southern, which I'm still building up my collection. Now, kind of a long, short history in regards to how that all came about is when I first got into it, I just grabbed a little bit of everything that I liked. I grabbed my Berkshires, I grabbed, my Challengers, Mikados, Consolidations, E89s, just a mix of everything. But then when push came to shove, with financials and funding and what I could actually afford and what I wanted to actually model, I started to cull a lot of my collection. Go, right, what do I have? What do I want? And my particular taste with model railroading is I love my steam engines. I love my articulated steam engines. So when I started to do the research, started doing, figure out who ran what and what railroads ran what, I ended up with a lot of content from obviously the Union Pacific because, they're known for their challenges and big boys. The Southern Pacific because, they got the AC-12s and the GS4s and whatnot. Um, and then after modeling those for a couple of years, I started to do more research, finding out, the Union Pacific at one point, um, or the Southern Pacific bought out the Rio Grande Southern Railways or something along those lines, took over ownership, and kind of fit into that era that I modeled. So I'm like, you know what, the kind of links, so I'll model that as well. I can make a smaller layout of that for that in the future, and that allowed me to collect more things like, I've got a couple of galloping geese, a couple of old time consolidations, and I also got a couple of shays as well in my collection to kind of throw into that side of things in regards to the railroads.
Sparky just threw in something in chat that's interesting, and that's kind of touches on what I said about the area that you grew up in, because it brings back memories, of maybe your childhood and growing up and chasing trains. So that's another reason too.
Yeah, well, that kind of doesn't apply to me at the moment because if I modelled what I was influenced around here in my area, I would have burnt a hole in my pocket way sooner than I have now. So, and it's only now in the last maybe 2 years I've been able to, or there has been enough products available, to model N scale Australian, but it's still very pricey compared to, American modelling. So
yeah, well, and also I picked up just recently a fairly beat up GP30 in N scale Santa Fe, and the road number was 3284. And when I saw that, it's like, holy crap! That was the first locomotive that I ever used when I hired on with the Santa Fe. So what we modeled touches memories. It's going to put that one away because that's kind of a sentimental number. It was kind of by chance that I saw that. So.
Yeah. What about you, Brian? Like you're sitting in the corner all nice and quiet.
Well, I am. I have some ammunition waiting too. I got some stuff in the chat that I wanted to come in with. I'm not going to talk about me right now because Leslie Gilpin said N scale because the 3 layout buff because of space. He does Canadian Railways. He does he
Sorry.
does he does Canadian Railways. Previously Burlington and Rio Grande, but basically any passenger trains that look good. I hear you on that. Randy said N scale for space, and he just enjoys the scenery. Gary is BNSF, BN. He's chosen BN, BNSF, and CB&Q because that's his local area from what I'm seeing. N-Scale Cajun Subdivision says N-Scale for size, and he models the Cajun Subdivision. Model Day Ops, BNSF, UP trains over the Cajun Pass, and he spent most of his time in Southern California. So I guess that's a memory thing for N-Scale Subdivision.
Yeah, actually, I think Cajon Pass. A lot of people are modeling that.
Where's that, Steve?
Cajon Pass, where you were mentioning.
I got you. John at Schuylkill River Valley models the PRR Reading, Philadelphia and Western, and Upper Marion and Plymouth. They run through the area he grew up in. Doug said he didn't have a specific railroad
Family
yet.
first.
That's okay. This is a family channel.
If family comes first.
Anyway,
You take it.
who are we meeting, Shannon?
Sorry about that, guys.
Who was that, Peter?
It's
Tell us
okay.
about that future modeler.
Sorry
Tell us
about that.
about the future modeler there. Who is that?
Oh, that was my boy Andreas. He's not sleeping at the moment tonight, so wife's trying to cook dinner at 2 a.m, and
Young.
Oh my God.
yeah. Oh, now he falls asleep.
Yay. I'm all for dinner at 2 a.m. I'd wake up for that.
Yeah, Mediterranean chicken.
Oh.
How about some of your barbecue at 2 a.m.?
Yeah, nah. Anyway, let's get back on track because I completely switched off with when I was trying to figure what was going on there.
Y'all want me to keep talking about in chat what people were saying?
Keep going with that.
Okay. Doug Billy said no specific road yet, although UP, BNSF, and NS seem to be what he's heading for. No specific area yet either. He says, but he's leaning towards modern. And Norman Rowe is in the process of replacing HO with N scale. Norman Rowe. What a smart fella Norman Rowe is. Norman Rowe. I mean, wow, Norman Rowe. Let me read that again. Norman Rowe states, and I quote, I am in the process of replacing an HO with N scale. Wow.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. And then they go on to talk about more. All right. Cowboy Valley. Indian Valley. Wilmer. I'm sorry if I skipped anybody. I saw Wilmer down. He models HO, and we still love him very much. And his road name is because it's a small town named Indian Head. Sounded like a great name for a railroad. It certainly is. That's Wilmer at Indian Valley Railroad. Cowboy Valley and Timberline Junction Railroad. That's Claude we were talking about earlier. He does the Rio Grande because he loves the mountains. Claude. And he does the narrow gauge as well. And that's the most interesting railroad in the country with the most beautiful scenery. And I agree. Rusty over at Possum Bio. Good morning, Rusty. Says N scale. He models family lines from the late 70s. He can have LNN, SCL, family lines, and even Clinchfield. Grandpa Rails models the UP, CSX, Amtrak. He saw UP and CSX when he was young. And William has grown up watching Amtrak and Union Pacific. Leslie Gilpin, passenger trains from 1934 onward. And back, let's see. Oh, Gary. Gary at Barn Full of Trains has several different scales, mostly HO scale, because they're easy to see. He models his hometown in the 1970s. Mark G, I'm going to call him because I don't want to butcher your last name, Mark. Welcome to the show. He models ATSF from 1189 to, he must have had some typos there. I don't think they modeled ATSF in 1189, maybe 1989.
That was a good year.
Steve, 87, PSAP, chose the PSAP short line because it's nearby and has all kind of freight liners, also modern. Indian Valley Railroad presently models mostly Pennsylvania Railroad just because he thinks it's cool, but he'll run anything he feels like at the moment. He does late 50s and early 60s, or anything he feels like. Amen. And that's it. Over to y'all.
Hey, would anybody in chat want to join in? We've got room for one more person.
Do we have that link ready and loaded, Shannon, before we add it?
I don't personally. Yeah, I don't personally, but I can get the link.
Well, I can tell them what it is.
Yeah, if you want to do it, you know, like I'm currently running on fumes, as they say.
And I just do it on my iPhone. It's whereby.com/back -on-track. No spaces.
Okay,
we can grab one more person.
Yeah.
I'm copying the link now.
Yep. Okay.
Try.
I guess what we can do is you know, why do we model what we model? You know, like as I said before, I had to cull a few things. But yeah, Brian, you haven't explained. Oh, actually, no, I think you have pretty much explained a little bit over the last few weeks why you model what you model, haven't you?
Yeah, I kind of did. That's why I had enough of me, so I wanted to talk about people in chat.
Yeah.
And I'm talking just a second because I'm putting that link in chat right now.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll take this time whilst you do that to remind everyone, you know, like whilst you were going through chat, I was reading through as well, trying to keep up where you were. And I noticed at the moment there's currently 32 people in chat right now, chatting away, who are currently watching us live.
We need 12 more.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. 17 more.
Yeah, so yeah, as you know, we've got a bit of a start-off giveaway. You know, we need 12 more people before I actually give this thing away. As we got till the end of the month, so we still have a bit of time to go. But you know, if it hits 50 today, you know, we'll, you know, between us and the guys, you know, Steve, Brian, myself, and the other guys will, you know, discuss how we'll actually do it. You know, we'll talk to Simon during the week and get him to do one of those Google link things so we know who models what scale. So that way we can, you know, give away the appropriate scale, so to speak. And yeah, and then yeah, from there we'll, you know, move on to better and bigger things, I guess.
Definitely.
Oh, Leslie Gilpin's in chat, and she asked if we got her email last.
Whoa, Shannon. Leslie is he.
Hey, oh, sorry, yeah.
It's a common misconception.
My mistake. That's my mistake.
He's in the UK.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's common I did the exact same thing and I've had to apologize to him already.
Yeah. All right, sorry about that, Leslie. Yes, we did get your email. I did speak to the guys briefly about it. About a few minutes before the show, and I don't think
you didn't talk to me. Who are you talking to?
Well, maybe. Why don't we plan on maybe having Leslie on next week since he does want to come on and we could get some footage together, but we could have him or anybody else just jump in right now.
Yeah.
If they wanted to as well. I did put the link in chat, so if anybody has the cam set up and wants to come in and tell us more about what they model and why they model it, we'd love to have you here. Just
it's easy to do.
I modeled here in Rio Grande Western in the 1950s. So Basically, I did it so I could run steam more than diesel, but I learned that diesel's a whole lot easier to run than steam, so it's the opposite now.
Hmm.
Shannon, you sure have a nice arsenal of steam.
Yeah, I do. So,
Of
do you
course.
want me to go through a bit of what I've got in my arsenal at the moment? Then I guess.
I would love you to. I'd like to hear more. You were kind of just talking about it. And
Yeah. Okay. So, as I said, I've always been into, I've always been into steam locomotives. It's just something with the way I see things in my head. I always like to see, like ever since I was young, I always looked at something and go, how does it work? How does it move? How does it do this? How does it do that? And with steam locomotives, being able to see the pistons, moving backwards and forwards, seeing all the, drive rods driving the wheels, the steam and just the, enormous size of these locomotives always caught my eye. So, I think the first steam locomotive I ended up getting was a little switcher, years and years ago from a Buckman one. And as you can imagine, back then Buckman didn't have a really good reputation, so that went into the scrap. Um, but then yeah, after couple of years later, started working, started to be able to fund the hobby myself, and I think I know the first locomotive which I still have today was an Intermountain AC-12 48-8 2 articulate number 4892, I think the road number is from memory. That was the first articulated steam locomotive I got. Then I ended up getting Greyhound Challenger number 3985. Then I got a couple of Berkshires, um, a Y6B. What was that? Then I got a Consolidation. Then I got a couple of early diesels like an E89 Union Pacific colors, A and B units. Got a couple of Union Pacific switches, Southern Pacific switches, and then I went back into the steam, and then I got myself another Challenger, big boy, another AC-12, um, another Consolidation, then another Challenger. Wow, I'm still listing them in my head right now. Jeez, I haven't
You're
seen them.
you're missing one.
Yeah,
You're missing one in your collection that you need. How about an SP AC9?
an AC-9. That
AC9.
that is currently in the works. I have a good friend of mine on Facebook. His name's Ernie. He is currently trying to get me a resin cast unit for an EM-1 chassis that I have. So, in saying that, if I wanted to, I could get one with sound custom built, but I don't think I can afford the $650 US plus shipping to get it here in Australia.
Mm-mm.
You know, a lot of people don't know that an AC9 is just an AC12 turned backwards.
Actually, the AC9 is the same chassis as the AC-10, 11, and 12, but
Okay.
that's what they used. They actually grabbed that chassis, flipped it round, and that's when they started to build the cab forwards, properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, they ran out their last years in Northeast California on the Modoc line. My dad was a huge SP fan, and I've got several of his old brass locomotives, and an AC9 is one of them.
Yeah.
Got an NC12 and an NT3 and 4, all brass from my dad.
Yeah, now it's surprising how many people are who model Southern Pacific who actually, who actually won an AC-9. I've got a couple of friends here in Australia, they're bugging me to bug my mate because, they want resin kits. I'm like, well, I've got to see if he's actually got enough kits because his supplier has gone into motorbikes, and, this has been something in the making for the last 5 years. So 5 years I've been chasing this, and, every time I talk to him, I'm just that little bit closer, and it's just right there, you know. But yeah, apart from that, like I could probably spend a whole video, a whole hour just showing off my collection, what I have, like just thinking about it now. I'll probably have about 40 to 50 locos in my collection, and probably around 150 pieces of rolling stock to go with it.
Well, I could spend the same amount of time going through all the HO stuff that I have, but I don't have the room to run it, and that's why I do N scale now. It's like it takes less room. And no, I've got a ton of HO stuff.
Actually, I saw something on eBay Australia you might be interested in, Steve. So I'll talk to you about that after the show if you want.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, Shannon, you gave me an idea. You could actually, not right now tonight, but you could come in with another camera and show your collection off to us as well. And what made me think about that is there's another guy that I would love to have on here to show off his collection as well. And I'm going to actually talk to y'all about that after the show and invite him. But that would be really cool. You could do that sometime, Shannon, to show your collection off.
Yeah, well, if anyone's interested, I can show a little bit off week by week,
Yeah.
Because I don't have a spare camera unless, I jump on another feed on my phone, but that'll obviously cause loop back issues. But before I get distracted, I just saw Norman Rowe saying, just asked me a question.
I was just going to tell you that.
Yeah, saying if I have any issues with radius curves. Norman, to give you an idea, no, I don't. Currently on my layouts, I run medium-sized Pico, which I think the turn off for the switch track is an 18-inch. I think they're an 18-inch radius, medium.
18 or 19.
Yeah. But in saying that, like I've got this S curve where my narrowest turn is 15 inches. From that curve, it goes into a right-hand switch track, which then goes into a left-hand switch track. So it's just snaking S bend. And the only loco I ever had issues with going through that S bend was a Concord GS4, which I had to actually modify to be able to be able to navigate that curve. If you actually look online, they have been rumored to not like anything under 16 inches, but I managed to get this thing to navigate roughly around 13 to 14 inches.
Wilmer's putting out maybe a new channel for you, Shannon's Showcase.
Oh, I've got a channel, like I've posted a montage, of my layout build up until its current state as of, I think, mid last year. Actually, in saying that, at some point later in this year, I've already told the guys, but in April, I'll be exhibiting north of where I am for an Easter exhibition over 2 days. And then there's another exhibition I'll be displaying at in July, which is about 3 hours northwest from where I am.
Wow. So, Gary Corbin, 162 pieces of rolling stock. You still want more.
That's good. Gary, I can tell you that you can never have enough rolling stock. Like, at the moment, I am bloody chasing that micro trains that have just released, that space graffiti boxcar thing. Now my wife's looking at me like, what are you talking about? You're not buying anything else.
Do they have a support group for obsession with rolling stock and trains, Shannon?
Right back down under. Yeah, it's called a wooden stick.
Wooden stick.
Yeah, okay. Your wives beat you over the head with it every now and then.
They take you down to the Billabong and
pretty much. So
that is effective.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, in saying that, with the exhibitions, obviously we might not be able to do the shows then, but I will hopefully be able to get enough content to either put on my channel or to give you guys a short 10-minute thing on the live stream. You know, just so you, because I know we got a lot of Americans on here. You know, because I'm Australian, obviously. So you guys get to see what us Australians actually model over here, so to speak.
Boy, Garrett, you had the rolling stock before you built your railroad. That's dedication.
Mm.
Well, I don't know if y'all remember, but I thought Mark G actually made a typo earlier, and so I need to correct myself. When I said 1189 and thought he said it was meaning 1989, 1189 is the milepost
Milepost,
location for the
Richmond,
APSF
California.
Richmond Yard. That's what it was.
Yeah,
On that, Mark G. Welcome to the show. We're glad to have you here today.
Yeah, Mark and I worked. You know, this goes back 30 years, but Mark and I worked a lot of time together. Richmond Yard was the end of the line for the Santa Fe, at least in California, Northern California. It branched off in Barstow, and the Valley Division was not very well known. It ran from basically Barstow to the Bay Area, and Richmond was the furthermost terminus of the railroad, but they also had a Navy, and a lot of people don't know that. I know we're off topic, but they had a float system that ran between Richmond and San Francisco, Tiburon, Oakland, and that's what I'm trying to model right now. But yeah, Mark and I spent a lot of time, countless hours working in Richmond. I ran from Richmond to Fresno. That was my run. So it's good to see you in here, Mark. That's good to see you.
The guys are talking about Rolling Stock Anonymous.
Hey, Brian.
We are way off topic.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
No.
And all this talk about showing off what I have, Brian.
What now?
This will make you jealous.
Oh, wow. That is awesome.
That's pretty cool.
That is awesome right there.
Yep.
Man.
Undecorated. It's that one I'm gonna model as number 5.
Wow.
I've got
Oh,
another.
you need that, Brian.
Yeah, that would be cool.
You need that.
Yeah, Concours DCC fitted Galloping Goose. I've only ever seen 2. No, sorry. I've only ever seen 3 in person, 2 of which I own.
Whoa.
Yep.
Yeah, there's
Okay,
no way.
I've been corrected. They're not mine. They're my wife's.
Not going there.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever mentioned the story, but this is the loco. My wife will divorce me if I ever sell it.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Somebody worked
So I
hard
guess
to
you're
find
not
that
getting
one.
it, Brian.
Nah, I don't know. I wouldn't dream of that.
You're not
I'll
getting
be
it.
all right. What I need is a undecorated F7B right now, and it's only $70, but I gotta wait for a while before I'm gonna get that. I'm doing a track work down here.
Yeah, actually, I was gonna say, Brian, if you want, I'll have a look on the Australian sites because, yeah, at the moment, our Aussie dollar is pretty weak against your dollar, and there's a guy selling a fairly large collection at the moment, and yeah, there's a few things in there that might interest a few of you guys.
All right.
Yeah, but again, we'll talk about that after the show. We're getting sidetracked
Hey,
here. We're gonna get back on track.
Do we have an intermission video? We never even talked about that.
Oh yeah, it's that time already. Jesus.
It's
Do
past
we
that.
have? Yeah.
Do
That special one? Do we have that special one loaded?
I don't have it loaded. I'll have to go back in the force to actually set it up. I reckon we'll just keep going for the minute. Everyone's going. From what I can see, chat's going pretty good, going off.
Yeah, Claude's got an HUN3 like that, Shannon. Can't wait to see that running, Claude.
Yeah, I wish I had the equipment to run double N3. But unfortunately, double N3 stuff here in Australia is extremely hard to get and super, super expensive.
And small. N scale's bad enough.
No, double N3 is still N scale. It just runs on Z scale truck.
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
So aren't the cars actually a little wider?
Sorry?
Hey, we got Roy Hardwick in the house. Good
Roy
morning, Container Man 68. Welcome.
Yeah, Container Man's trying to educate me in regards to the galloping geese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I wish I had.
First.
I've got 2 down there. I need 3 more, and I'm gonna have the whole set. But I have to find them. As Leslie, actually, here we go. Looking at chat, Leslie Gulpin, double N3 needs a mortgage. I have to agree with that. Because the last, and just to give you an idea, because when I looked into it, to model, oh, okay, my cold's coming back. When I looked into it, someone was selling a K-class locomotive, hand-built, from a kit, and 4 passenger cars, and they were asking $2,800 US plus delivery.
God. That's crazy.
Yep.
I could buy an 1.5 scale ride-on train for almost that.
Okay, if you guys can take over for a minute, I need to go clear my lungs.
We certainly can.
Oh my goodness. How's the Helix coming, Brian?
Well, the Helix is actually done. I'm actually doing kind of more like, what is that? The T-loop called? In California? Say that again?
The Tehachapi.
Yeah, the Tehachapi. I'm basically doing something pretty similar to that down here at the bottom now, because this is the only little place that I didn't do new hardboard and new Pico Flex on the whole layout. So I went ahead and I still had foam board down here. So I went ahead and relayed that so I could also put in 3 more turnouts. One that'll connect to the new spur that goes by the sawmill. So I'll have another terminus over there, or another passing over there. It'll be small, but I'll have one. And then where it comes around in here, I got a curved turnout that's going to go in, because when I come from the extension down here and wrap around, that's how I'll get back down. I'll come into a curved turnout down here at the bottom. So when I relay the track, even though it's a while before I do the extension, I'm going to go ahead and put the curved turnout in so it's ready for when I do the extension. I won't have to mess with the track.
Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah. The Tehachapi loop is between Bakersfield, California, and Mojave, and I've only been there one time. But one of my biggest mistakes and regrets working for the Santa Fe was never riding over that, because we could do it. I mean, we could do it. All I had to do was go down and tell them I was going to do it. I could ride over the loop, and I never did. I just wish I had. That would have been a great memory that I never did. But Tehachapi.
Well, pretty much the first 2 layers of a Helix is the Tehachapi loop, the equivalent.
Sure.
And then, but I've read somewhere that in Asia, there's a line that has 3. It does it 3 times.
Wow.
Which would kind of be like an actual modern day Helix. It's in the mountain and tunnels, but
I was just going to say, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's either the CP or the CN's got a loop that's in a tunnel. Somebody can mention that in chat, but they've got I think it's a complete loop in a tunnel. And I think it's CP. But I'm not sure.
If the pictures I saw, it looked like this one was like half in the mountain and half out. But it did go 3 levels, similar to what our Helixes would look like.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, the closest thing we have to that here in Australia is the zigzag railway. And literally, as the name states, yep, it zigzags up the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
Mm.
Hey, look at this.
Steve,
Look
Oh,
at
hang on.
this. Hey.
Hey, we got Claude jumping on. Let me just change the cameras. There we go.
Yes.
Wow, everybody.
I thought somebody else would want to get on, but since they didn't, I thought, well, I'll fill in.
You know, that's polite of you. It's so nice to see you, Claude. It's good to have you here.
Good to see you guys.
Now, you can tell us more about what and why you model if you feel like it.
I'm sorry?
You feel like telling us more about what and why you model what you model?
Well, I as I said in the chat, I love the mountains. And of course, I love the steam engines, and the narrow gauge to me is just super interesting. The way it winds through the mountains, where you couldn't take a regular railroad. That's why they had it. But the history is part of it too that I like. It's at a time when our country was really growing quite a bit with all the silver and gold and other ore that they were bringing out of the mountains, and that's what they used the narrow gauge for. The Rio Grande Southern is a really neat story. That railroad never made a dime in its whole existence, but that's where the Galloping Geese were on the Rio Grande Southern. So it's just a neat place. The mountains are beautiful, and the way they ran the railroads were great. The way they still run the railroads out of Chalma and Antonito, and then also out of Durango and Silverton, just beautiful area. Get a chance to get up there and ride those two rides. It's unbelievable.
I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah, it really is. The fall time, I got to get back up in the fall and see the Aspens when they're changing.
So, Claude, does your line actually have a main line that splits off into a narrow gauge that you model in that area, or?
Yeah, well, yeah, ours is a freelance, but it's based on the Colorado narrow gauge. I do have a standard gauge loop to loop that is basically just there for the interchange track and stuff to make the yard area a little more interesting in that regard. And then the narrow gauge is point to point junctions there at Timberline Junction, and goes up the mountain from there to two little towns that we're going to have into the mines.
I'm curious, Claude, about, because I don't really remember asking last week, but your layout is in a particular a room, right? I was just curious how big it was.
Yes, it's in a room that's over our garage, which was supposed to be the game room. We didn't want a theater room in this house when we built it, so we moved our game room to what the theater room was going to be, and so we were just using this for interior storage, basically heated and cooled storage, and of course weren't filling it up. But it's an irregular sized room. It's got a dormer on it, and I used part of that, and then part of it is in the main part of that room. So it's kind of an odd shape. It's an L shape that's about 13 by, I want to say 15, 16 feet. Something like that, maybe a little bit more.
Okay, it looked pretty big from what I
but it's an L shape, and the L shape is on the back side of the layout. So I had to get kind of creative with a track plan to get it to fit in there, but found something that I thought would work pretty well for what we wanted to do. And I've just recently started doing the bench work for the central mountain part that the narrow gauge is going to wind up through, and that's going to be interesting, to say the least.
Well, and you're starting to build mountains too.
I'm sorry.
You're starting to build mountains now too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I just started some of the scenery on one of the tunnels, but yeah, I'm starting to build the infrastructure for the center mountain to get up to the upper decks, and that's going to prove to be interesting. I think I might have bit off more than I could chew, but
It's a lot of work.
but it's fun. It gives me something to do. So
Yeah.
What kind of grades are you talking about the narrow gauge going through the mountains? Are you going to look at?
I am trying to keep them at 4% or less. A lot of the narrow gauge is going to be real close to 4%.
Wow.
Now, on the actual Chama, on the Cumbersome and Toltec line out of Chama to Antonito, they actually run up to 5% at one point.
Wow.
And when you're coming back on the bus, and it's right before it crosses a road, and as you're coming back on the bus and you look at it, it looks like the edge of a roller coaster as you would go off, looking downhill. So it doesn't seem that steep when you're going up, but it's pretty steep.
Well, I don't think people realize how steep a 4% grade is. And
Yeah, well, they were saying that actual line right there is the steepest contact only railroad as far as traction. They don't have a cog, they don't use cables, they don't use anything like that. It's strictly contact on the rails. It's pretty interesting to see that, but you can look at the rails in a lot of places and see this wheel slip from the locomotives.
Right. Well, the SP up here in Southern Oregon, over the Siskiyou Pass, somebody can correct me, but it was pushing 4%. I think at one point it hit 3.9, and then hits the tunnel and goes down into California. But the SP used to run massive trains through here. Now it's just the Central Oregon and Pacific, and they don't run, very long trains. But the SP used to run 150 car trains, with SP9, in the head end, middle, and pushing on the rear. I can't imagine doing that. Being an old engineer, I wouldn't want to have done that. That's crazy, the steep grade. So yeah,
they run them there, and of course it limits unless they do a double header, which is kind of a treat to see when they're running double head steam. But limits their cars to eight cars or so is all they can pull up that hill.
Right, and they're still running cold there.
Yes, they're and Durango both. Now Durango just finished restoring a K37, I believe. K37, K38, I can't remember it right offhand. And as they restored it, they changed it over to oil.
Yeah.
I know they had a big push after the fire a couple of years ago
that's what I was going to ask about that, whether they're going to require them to convert.
Well, they're not requiring them because they're historical.
Okay.
But yeah, they got a big push from the environmentalists after that they need to shut them down or at least change over to oil. And it'd be a shame if they had to do that, because it's really a treat to ride behind a coal-fired engine.
Oh yeah.
And you get to your destination, and we were in an open gondola, and we're just covered. You couldn't see it on you, but you could feel it on you.
It's like don't wear a white shirt.
Yeah. Had it in my hair and my beard at the time, and yeah, it was fun.
Well, Claude, I'd be interested. Do you know anything about, my line goes through the Moffett Tunnel, popping out at Winter Park. The Moffett Road, the old road that used to go over that before they did the tunnel. Do you know anything about that line that ran over there?
No, I haven't read anything on it. I'm aware of it, but I've not done any research on it. Tell you who Mike could is Michael McCarville. Mike could tell you something about it. He's presently doing a lot of structure work for the Rio Grande Southern around Ophir and Telluride in that area. But he probably has run across some of that. But I haven't studied any of that. In fact, I haven't really done a whole lot of research other than looking at rosters, pictures of rosters of equipment and stuff that they had. I've done some of that, but I haven't really looked to find historical basis for running the railroad, because ours isn't based on a prototype. I mean, it's based on a prototype, but it's not patterned, right on a prototype. So I haven't really done that much research on it.
One of the things I was thinking is I could do a line off of my line, one day that modeled that line that actually went over the mountain instead of through it. That would be really cool. That'd be some extreme grades I could model way down the line one day. I was thinking about. So I just wondered if you knew anything about it.
No, I looked at it at one time, but it's been a while, and it seemed like to me it had a switchback on it, and maybe two. I know over north of Silverton for the mining districts around Ironton, just south of Ouray, they had a lot of switchbacks in there to get to the mines, and very, very steep grades there also, but much shorter distances. But that's a very interesting area. But I was thinking the Moffett Road had some switchbacks on it.
Yeah.
To get up over the hill, because otherwise you got to have a curve or something to be able to run grade.
No, they did that before they built the tunnel. They had switchbacks, and they snow slides and all kinds of problems. And that's
they
did. Well, what's cool is they had a little town up there at the very top called Corona, and that would be awesome to do little structures for that up there too, because it was on the top. I don't think anything's there now, but they did. People would get snowed in up there for weeks. Mm-hmm. That'd be an awesome little area to model with deep snow and drifts and all that stuff too.
I think you should try what Leslie put out in the UK. He says there's a short line with 6 and 6.5% grades with passenger trains in the 20s. I don't think I'd want to go down grade in a passenger train in the 6.5%.
No. Well, and what was wild when, let's say, like the Rail Grand Southern was running even up into the 30s. Of course, they had come up with the air brake system by then, but before the air brake system came on, you had a brakeman sitting on top of the car, on top of the train, and if they came uncoupled, he'd have to, hopefully jump over to the one that came uncoupled and hit the wheel, the brake on top to stop it. Otherwise, it was going to roll downhill to wherever it went.
Those poor guys back then, the brakemen, man, they were just disposable. That's the way the railroads looked at them. They didn't care if they fell off. They never even looked.
That was the most dangerous job on the railroad, was brakeman.
Anyway, guys, in saying that, we've got about 10 minutes left in the show tonight, or this morning. Keep thinking it's night time. No, it's not this morning.
And we've been off topic the whole show.
No, I know.
That's a beautiful Shannon, did you get my OneNote thing about the other live streams and series and all that stuff?
I haven't been able to get into my emails. What did I just do?
I can go from memory if you want. We just won't be able to show it, but I can say that whenever you want me to.
Yeah, go from memory for this week, and we'll try and reorganize, because last week I had software issues. This week I've got hardware issues. So, yeah.
All right. I hear you. We'll be all right. Weekly model railroad live streams Monday at 7 o'clock, Nate at Tiogatin River Valley and Coal Company. 8 o'clock, these are all times are Eastern. 8 o'clock is Tom's Trains and Things. That's Tom. Tuesday at 7 o'clock is On Track Tuesday. Wilmer at Indian Valley, Benny at Creative Rails, Tony at Redbird Tony, and I don't remember the number, sorry Tony. Dave at Crooked River and Eastern. Wednesdays is our own Sparky at 7 o'clock, Sparky 107 107. Thursday at 7 o'clock is Rodney at Hot Rod Rodney. The last Thursday of the month at 8 o'clock is Chris at Go Via or Go Home. Friday at 8 o'clock is Cousin Vinny at BNSF 6951. Saturday at 10 a.m. is Trackside on the Back on Track channel right here, 10 a.m. 7 p.m. is Ron at Real Wicked Canadian. Sunday now at 6 p.m. a new live stream on Sunday. We got one every day now. Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern is Nora. Nora, I do not have the actual, I had to use the acronym because I ran out of time. Sorry, Nora, but y'all know who Nora is. Go step over there. Series Mondays are Wilmer's Not Bad, and they are not bad. They're great. Make sure you watch Wilmer's Not Bad every Monday. Tuesdays, Dispatch for Roy Smith on Monday or Tuesday.
You just went quiet, Brian.
Okay, is Roy Smith's Dispatch on Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesdays.
On Tuesdays.
Okay, Tuesdays is Roy S's at Union Pacific, and make sure I say this right. It's not Edmonton. Evanston subdivision. Okay, I said it wrong last time. Didn't want to do that again. Sorry, Roy S. Second Tuesday of each month at 6 p.m. is the Community Roundhouse. That's me in Schuylkill River Valley. And BNSF does Saturday premieres, usually after our show. And Roy H. Containerland has a live stream coming soon. That's all, everybody.
No, actually, there's another one, and Spark, you could probably get the information on it because I don't. I think it's on Wednesdays. It's
Michael McCarville's doing a live stream. Claude, when's that?
I'm sorry?
When's Michael McCarville's live stream?
He varies, I think.
Oh, okay.
He's got a set time. But okay. He's got a Facebook page, HO Tutorial. And on there he has he's got a file with everybody's live stream as he gets them. He's putting them on there, so there's a central place to find them, and that's HO Tutorials, I think, is the name of it on Facebook.
Back to you, Shannon.
Sorry, I'm just typing at the moment, so you guys keep going.
Oh, I asked if anybody wanted to jump in, and then I didn't look.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Okay, I'm going to get out. Oh, wait, for a future. Okay, never mind. I got you. I thought somebody wanted to jump in. I was making sure because I asked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, I think we're pretty off track today, but
Wilmer said Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, Michael McCarville's going to be going live too. So that's 9 o'clock Eastern on Michael McCarville on Wednesdays. Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
Traveling boxcar, Shannon. Any info on that?
No, I haven't had an update. I've got to talk to Simon about that and get a hold of Joe if we can.
Yeah, Joe's been pretty busy working. So.
Yeah.
And what about asking for emails for intermission videos? Even if you email us, just email us that you give us permission to use your videos in emails, and we're going to use them during the intermissions. So you don't really have to make in video a special video. If you'll just email us permission to use a clip from your video in this intermission, that's the only place we use it. Just give us permission to do that. Use one of your recent clips during intermission. We'll do that. That would help us out a lot as well.
Yeah, would have done it today, but unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pull this apart tomorrow and fix it because for some reason I've got no keyboard. Like I press a button and it's like I've just smashed the keyboard.
Oh, okay. So you can't put a link to the email in chat?
On that laptop I can't, but on this laptop I can. So
okay, yeah.
I'm working off two computers right now, and yeah, it's just the last 2 weeks have not been good for me computer-wise, unfortunately.
I had a nightmare with OBS. Mine totally crashed and everything. I jacked it up playing with it, and I had to delete everything, and then nothing would work, and I had to delete everything again. I panicked. All that happened this morning before the show.
Actually,
it started last night. Excuse me.
Actually, insane. Just before we do jump off, Indian Head Valley Railroad has just said we can use anything of his, anytime, any place, so to speak. So we got his permission for intermission. So yeah.
Did y'all see what Wilmer did on his live stream the other night? He got like 3 people to their subscriber count, so their contest would start. He like sat there in chat and pumped it up. Like like, you know how people will pump up the numbers of people there? He was pumping up subscribers for people. He got 3 people to their subscriber goals to start contest. And then Sparky turned around the next night and did the same thing. And somebody else did it too. Vinny did it too, just somebody else as well. So we got like 4 or 5 contests going right now.
Yep. Okay, anyway, I'll end the show for now. Thanks for everyone who has joined us today in the live chat. I know we haven't stuck to the topic. We kind of went into a weird tangent kind of thing.
Well, and we appreciate Claude very much for jumping in. We hope more people will do that in the future. Y'all get ready to do that for the next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody else get in here.
Yeah, I'll get out anytime. Y'all just let me know.
Yeah, I'll get out. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we've got a couple of guys waiting to talk to us after the show, so I'll try and get them on so we can discuss, try and organise something for next week, and actually get some of these things nutted out. And yeah, at the same time, I'll update the description as well. Claude, I'll get your channel link up in there so everyone can jump over to your channel and have a look at your videos. And yeah,
Shannon, if you can, leave the chat open and let people promote their channels and give their subscriber counts so we can get a chance.
Yeah, no, I'll see if I can do that. So I'll see if I can leave the live stream running, but I'll disconnect our broadcast for the minute. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for joining the show. I guess we'll see you next week.
See you Saturday. Thank you, Claude.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.